Hello.
Hi.
Harking back to the new music you're putting out, once the album's out and it's all ready to go, what are our chances of you actually touring Australia?
Well, I mean, I would love that. I would love that. Thank you so much. I would absolutely love that. You know, if I get to, if everybody had a good time and I get to come back next year, that's probably going to be on the ticket. To be honest with you, you will just bring the band out and we'll do a show, probably away from here, but end up doing a show at a couple of bars. Because I mean, that's what we do in London. That's what we used to do. Go over to London, I'll do a convention or two. But then we'll just go on tour. We'll play, you know, we'll play all over London. So I don't see how that couldn't work out for us playing Australia, man. I mean, everybody loves music here. I've noticed that with Australians, and so I really hope that happens. And if I can get the music out and I get invited back to this, then that's a promise.
Hello. I'm sure you have done plenty of auditions in your life. What would have been the shocker of an audition you have done?
The what?
The most shocking
Audition?
Yeah. Where you were embarrassed about the way you performed.
Oh God. I was gonna do a movie. I was gonna do a film. It was called, what was it called? Win a Date with Tad Hamilton. And it was supposed to be me. And I walked in and blew that audition. I had been sick the night before. I started reading off the page, and I remember Joseph Middleton, who cast me in a couple other things. He walked out and goes, "What the hell was that, man?" And I just went, "I don't know." For some reason, my mind just went blank. I was sick the night before, and I just didn't do it. And it was between me and Josh. What got the role? Yeah. It was between me and him, and I just went, yeah. And he got the role. I completely lost the role because it was a bad audition. That was the worst audition that I'd ever given. And I mean, the role was mine, man. I had it, and it just went away. I think that was the one that I hate the most. I was also hired in a movie. I was the first guy hired, and it was called East Grand Rapids High. And I didn't like the character, and I didn't like the role, and it was a stupid movie. And then they cast the lead guy, and they said I'm probably a little bit too old to play him. And so they took the movie away from me. But I didn't care because it was such a shitty movie. And they later changed the name to American Pie. Yes, I was the first Stifler. And they called up Josh Hartnett. They called up I can't think of her name right now. Scarlett Johansson. They called me and they said, "Do you mind if we put your audition tapes on season 2, or the second American Pie? We want to show all the actors who didn't get the role." And I said, "Yes, you can put mine on there." Nobody else said yes. I was the only one. Because I coined the phrase. I was like, I did this in the audition, which got me the role, because it wasn't even scripted. I was like, "Johnson, what the fuck are you doing here?" I did that. I made that up. And he said it in the movie. And I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me, man. I wrote that." So I was like, "Yes, you can put my audition tape on." I wanted everyone to see. But smartly, Scarlett and Josh and everybody else was, "No, man, we're not going to show something that we didn't get." So anyway, there you go. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Talking about small treatments that you've done, I've been off Red, White and Blue. Are we ever going to see more?
I don't know. I know that came back around. That's loosely based on a real guy with the CIA, and he was there. You know, he's very different of mine. But I hope so. They're talking about I know when I left, right before I left Portland, one of the producers I worked with were talking about he was working with them to try and get that made. You know, so I don't know. I mean, yes, if it comes out, they'll use me because I'm close with all those guys, and especially Dale and all those guys. But you know, if they can, they'll go for Matt Damon. Let's be honest. But you know what I mean, something like that. If they don't, if it becomes a smaller film, I'm sure they would go with me. But it's such a great story, and the guy who wrote that also, you know, is responsible for Hawaii Spy Games and all that stuff. And so I can't say his name because I don't want to get shot. He can reach me all the way over here. So, but I hope so. I hope so because I'd love to do it. That was so much fun. Yeah. Yes. Actually, the guy I fought in that movie comes out of the water. If you ever see The Short, the guy that comes out of the water was actually Delta Force. It's the first time anyone's ever fought a real Delta Force guy. And I remember that I go, what are those two guys standing there for? They can't be there, they're in the shot. And he goes, those are Navy SEALs. And I was like, why are they there? He goes, just in case he loses it. And I was like, wait a minute, man. What do you mean, just in case he loses it? He goes, well, if Dale snaps. And I'm like, come on. Dale has a book, and it's really worth reading. And he's a very dear friend of mine. His name's Dale Comstock, and it's called American Badass. And it's really great, and it tells about his tour. It's kind of like Road Warrior with Richard Marchenko, but if you get an opportunity and you like stuff like that, military, it's called Road Warrior. But Dale is, so when Dale sticks me with ketamine and I pass out and he puts me on his shoulders, we didn't tell anybody he was going to do that. I knew it, no one else did. And Dale, when he did it, the two guys rushed in. And he was like, what are you doing, man? He was like, dude, you can't carry, because that's how they carry people off. And they thought that he actually had lost it and was carrying me off. And it was so funny, but and it was funny because, listen, the Navy SEALs are the baddest in the world. And then you talk to this guy who's Delta Force, and he's like, yeah, these people carry our freaking bags. And I was like, man, if you're gonna say that about a Navy SEAL, that's pretty tough, man. It was scary. That was just scary, because he's good and he's big and he's great at what he does, and 2 fingers he can kill me. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. You were right there. Yes.
Hi, I was just wondering, with Leverage, you guys do a whole lot of little different plots and, play a whole lot of different, characters, like Chef's the IT guy. Which of those was your favorite?
Oh man, that was the thing about Leverage is the fact that we were actors and we got to be other actors. We got to act inside of acting, which a lot of people don't get to do. I think it was great. My favorite of all time was the IT guy. Because I really channeled Kurt Russell when he came in Big Trouble in Little China, you know what I mean? When he comes in with the phone, where's the phone at? It's back here, I got it. So I really wanted to channel Kurt Russell. And it's funny because Leverage was not supposed to be a comedy. It wasn't supposed to be funny. There were funny moments, but it wasn't supposed to be a comedy. And then they realized the whole cast was doing this stuff, and that's where the show went, you know what I mean? So a lot of it was the writing, but 50% of that was the actors they hired. They just didn't know that we were going to be that funny and put that much humor into it. Which took us right out of award seasons because we're not a drama and we're not a comedy. So, there's no way we're going to get an award, but we didn't care. We loved the show. I think my favorite character was, I really loved the chef episode. I really honestly do, and I got to, thank you. I got to fight my good friend Marshall Teague, who's still a friend. We've done 3 movies together. Marshall Teague is actually the bad guy in Roadhouse. He just looks a little bit older now, but he was the bad guy in Roadhouse that fought Patrick Swayze. And I just love that because a lot of that stuff was ad-libbed. If you go back and look at that, I'm in the kitchen, I'm doing this, and this sweet little black girl who's in there takes the plate over without anything on it. And I'm like, you gotta put it on the plate, put it on the plate. All that was just, she was so nervous that she didn't do it, and she was so sweet about it, but all that was real. And if you watch it, man, it's just so, she was my girl. She was the girl that I had on the grill all night, you know what I mean? And she was such a sweetheart. And on that scene, I'm like, that looks good, and she goes, great, and she carries the plate, and I go, you gotta put it on the plate. Most of that stuff in the kitchen was just all ad-libbed, and so that was just so much fun to play that guy. And also, anytime I'm playing against Hardison, my character works so much better, because I have to have a reason to be mad. And he always gave me that reason. Just his smug face, Age of the geek, baby. Thank you.
Okay, we have time for one last question.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
Hiya.
Okay, you do a lot of independent films. Just wondering, do you do them because you're passionate about acting, or just because,
I do them because I have to like the project. I have to like the role. I've really never done, there's a couple of things I've done for money. Let's be honest about it. But it's really not about money for me. I don't need a house off the coast of Hawaii like most people. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty happy where I'm at. I got a good mom and daddy, and I was raised right. And money's not that important for me. So it's all about the project. It really is all about the role. A lot of times what I'll look for is something that I haven't done yet. You know what I mean? Like something that I can go play and really sink my teeth into. Because, most of the times, 90% of the time, I'm getting hired to beat somebody up. You know what I mean? Because it's just the roles that they want. They think I'm either the bad guy or something like that. So if you can find something funny, even in Just Married. I mean, when I did that movie, it was they had another guy in mind, but because Ashton and Brittany were so great at the slapstick comedy, they needed someone to do a more how do I say it? Just down to earth. You know what I mean? It's just like that's why I love John Larroquette. I work with John Larroquette right now, and John Larroquette there's nothing funny about anything that he does when it's not the Three Stooges. You know what I mean? It's funny because John Larroquette's so great at comedy without playing slapstick. So I like to do. I look at the roles. I really do look at the roles and just see, have I done it before? We could go either way. Have I done it before? Awesome. I know this guy can nail it. Or I look for something that scares the hell out of me, because then I know I have to kind of, to get into that whole thing. A lot of times it's not. And I would never do Shakespeare just because I'm from Oklahoma. I know I don't sound right. But like a lot of times it's the emotional side of things, having to go somewhere emotional, that scares me, and I don't know if I can do it. And that's the thing that I want to go do. Yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Everybody. Christian is heading straight to the autograph area, so if you haven't done so yet, make sure you go and see him for an autograph. If you do want to go to the concert tonight, tickets are still on sale at the info booth. So it's happening at stage 2 at 6 o'clock. 6:15. Stage 2.